update because we're actually on a break just for about 10 or 15 minutes because Jane Doe just snapped on the defense during cross-examination, talking real slick and trying to give them all the smoke. And then after she got done snapping, she had the nerve to ask for a break. So here we are, okay? So the judge gave her a break and then told her if she needs any more time to go ahead and ask. So they were going through some text messages that were exchanged between she and the diddler, and they also played some audio of conversations that they were having. Now, the thing is, they brought up Jane Doe, her modeling career that she's talking about. Okay, so Tina Garagos asked her, what type of modeling is this that you were doing? Because you know how these girls are on Instagram, they said they're Instagram models, but we all know that Instagram is not in fact a modeling agency, so who are you really modeling for? So she asked her, what kind of modeling have you been doing? And she says, oh, I did some print modeling, some music videos, you know, a couple of movies. And then, so then Tina produces a picture of her dressed up in this costume and asks her, you know, is this an example of your modeling? She was wearing a Halloween costume, okay, mind you. So she says, is this an example of modeling? And she's like, no, that's just a Halloween costume where I was dressed up. Okay, so then as they're going through these text messages between her and the diddler, they read one that says, where Diddy says, I don't feel like being around people. And then she says, okay, baby, about to head your way in about 24 minutes. Or, I'm sorry, 2 to 4 minutes. And then he wants her to call up one of those S workers and talk real sexy and explicit to them, like I told you guys before. So she calls the guy, and she's like, oh, I'm touching myself right now. I love a rock hard rooster. Okay, another word for rooster. That's what she says. And she's like, I like it. And I like it touching me. And then she goes on to say that she wants to feel it moving in and out, hitting her tight walls, okay, and touching her G-spot. All right, now, whenever Tina is asking her about these things where she's hooking up with these men or she's reaching out to them or whatever, she says, oh, it's because my partner, it's because my man wanted me to do it. So she's blaming it all on Diddy. But mind you, she didn't have to do any of this. And in fact, I'm inclined to think that sometimes she absolutely wanted to do these things herself because in fact, at one point, Diddy tells her, well, you've been waiting. You know, you've been waiting to set this up. So here's your chance, like, go ahead. So she calls up the guy Cabral. She calls him up and starts talking dirty to him. Okay, and then she said that he wants her to take the lead, talking about the diddler. He wants her to take the lead, and then he prefers for her to get this warm oil and heat it up, and then wants Paul to be standing there jerking over her while he waits for his turn while her and the diddler are getting it on. I mean, this stuff is all so raunchy. It's given adult corn with a P, okay? That's what it's really giving, okay? Please pay attention. So anyway, then after this, she sends these photos, okay? She messages the guy and she's like, I'm good, babe. She says, I'm good. And then he's like, I'm good, baby, how are you? Now then she sends these photos. And then he says, I want to eat your bussy with a P. Please pay attention, okay? And then she talked about how Diddy wanted the oil. He loved the oil for it to be all thick and warmed up and just dripping and guzzling all over their bodies and all of this, honey. What a freak. So anyway, then she's talking raunchy again, right, to one of these workers, and she's talking about how she wants her legs to be put. It almost sounds verbatim like some of the stuff Cassie was saying when she was talking real raunchy to the S workers, or when she would talk like that to Diddy when they were trying to get in the mood to have one of those freak-offs. I mean, it's almost verbatim the same wording, okay? Please pay attention. And then she says, I want to lay there with the oil on my body while you put it in me with my legs back, giving me that hard deep. And then the guy's like, whoa, okay? And then she's like, what do you want to do? I mean, this is all some freaky stuff, like I said. This seems to have been what was the basis of their relationship. This is like what they mostly did, because all of these stories that we keep hearing are about sex, okay, and S workers and explicit messages, audio, pictures, and all of this. Okay? It sounds like Diddy was opening his own, like he was trying to start his own corn industry with the people. So anyway, at one point, now listen, I'm going to go through this quickly because we only have like 10 minutes to be out here on this break. But I'll come back afterward. But anyway, so she's sitting there, and like I told you all, Diddy was telling her, he said, you always wanted to set some ish up for tomorrow night. And she's like, yeah, no, that'll be super easy for me to set up. This is what she's saying. That'll be super easy for me to set up. But didn't you say you wanted to wait until the album was done? And she's talking about the Love album, right? She said, didn't you, now this is an audio they're playing, if I'm not mistaken. She says, but didn't you say you wanted to wait until the album is done? Okay. She's like, but we can go ahead, but I thought you wanted to wait. So anyway, he wanted to see the two main guys. That's what she said. The two main guys, which will be Cabral and Anton. So then she gets upset and she says, I thought you genuinely wanted to be with me, but you just wanted to have this hotel night or whatever. So she gets mad, she starts talking trash, and then they go through some more text messages where she's just talking trash or whatever. And then so Teeny Garagos asked her, you know, were you upset because you didn't get a Chanel bag? Because mind you, she's seeing this stuff that these other women are posting online on social media. And Teeny asked her, you wanted to be able to post stuff on Instagram. You wanted to be able to put stuff out there too, right? And she said, well, I was just upset because the fact that these other people were posting things and they were getting to do things and he's spending time with them. And basically she's repeating the same stuff that she said during direct examination. But when Teeny asked her, well, you were upset because you didn't get that Chanel bag. And she's like, she said she wanted a Bottega bag. And so Teeny asked her, well, what kind of bag is that? Or she said, how much does it cost? And she's like, I'm sure you have one. This is what she told Teeny. She said, I'm sure you have one. So then Teeny asked her the question again and asked her, how much is it worth? How much does that cost? She says, how much is my body worth? Everybody's like, whoa, everybody literally gasped. Okay, she's like, how much is my body worth? And so then the judge says something to her. He's like telling her, ma'am, please just answer the questions. Okay, and then she has an attitude. I mean, she's coming off as a hostile witness. She is not feeling these questions that Teeny is asking her. And remember I told you guys on the other video how she's being painted, you know, like a gold digger. Okay, that's how it's coming off. You want all this money, you asking for money, you're staying with this man because he needs to pay your rent at the end of the day. But my thing is, no matter how much money somebody's giving you, they should not be able to compromise your integrity and make you do nefarious things that you don't want to do, especially as it pertains to being hoed out. Another thing I thought was interesting is when she got mad at Diddy, she was going in on him, and she told him that he had these nasty hoes that was all ran through. And I'm thinking, girl, didn't you just say that you slept with 4 men in one night? Let's talk about ran through. Okay, now I'm not trying to victim shame or blame, but I'm just saying the pot can't talk about the kettle. Now, whether you allowed Diddy to talk you into it or not, if you were messing with 3 and 4 men in the same night, that's ran through also. Okay, so when she was going off about these other women, I just thought that was kind of crazy. And the thing is, I can believe that she told Teeny, when Teeny asked her how much was that Bottega bag, she said, how much is my body worth? Okay? And basically, like, I've been with this man for 3 years, and I can't get nothing except for hotel nights. And whatever I get, I damn well deserved it after putting up with his ish. That was her attitude. It was just all real crazy to me, honey. This is getting so juicy. Okay, it's no victims in that court building, says Jamal. Well, you know, here's the thing. Like I say, and like I continue to say, these people need to take accountability for their own actions. Whether or not Diddy did this stuff, the bottom line is they were complicit. Okay, you allowed him to talk you into it. You allowed him to manipulate you. And another thing that Teeny is doing, Teeny keeps asking her, how old were you when you did this? Because, girl, you were 35 years old. I'm sorry, ma'am, but you were old enough to know better. Okay, Cassie was much younger. and much easier manipulated, I'm sure, because Diddy was like 38 years old when she was like, what, 21? Isn't Diddy like 16 or 17 years older than Cassie? So I could see that dynamic of Diddy having the power and the control and being more manipulative, you know, being able to get her under his control. But somebody 35 years old, you've lived life long enough that you should know the game by now. Okay, you should know how the game goes and not sit up here. And even if this man fooled you for a month or two, how do you allow him to fool you for 3 years? And how do you allow him to do all of these things, but yet you keep coming back? And you know he's running game because you basically have said it. But nonetheless, you still keep coming back to him. And even after he's under a whole RICO investigation, you're still dealing with this fool. So much so that the feds came to your house. Okay, please make it all make sense. Okay, this all seems like, you know, and here's another thing too. One of the messages, one of the audio messages that they played from Diddy, he was telling her that she was getting to her bag. And when Teeny asked her, what does that mean? She just really tried to play it off, because we all know what getting to the bag means. That means you're out there getting money, okay? That means you're making your money, you're getting your coins. But when Teeny asked her what getting to the bag means, she said something about, I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing, mind you, it was something along the lines of, you know, you're just doing what you're supposed to do, or doing what you need to do. No, that means you're getting your cash, okay? And this is after that love contract was signed and sealed, okay? This is all very juicy, you all. When I tell you, oh my goodness, says, talking about Diddy, y'all obsessed. Well, here's the thing. We might be obsessed, beloved, but you're in the chat listening to somebody who's constantly talking about Diddy. So what does that mean? Doesn't that mean that you, in fact, are obsessed? Okay, I mean, everybody's obsessed with this trial. We're all interested in it. It is trending. Okay, it is the trial of the century. Yes, I am obsessed. And so are you. That's why you're listening to the Queen right now. And when you're done listening to me, you'll go listen to somebody else that's talking about the same thing, which is the diddler. Okay, so please make that make sense, okay? We don't have time for trolls, all right? Y'all don't have anything else to do, trolls? Is that what it is? But let me continue. So anyway, yeah, she told him that his bitches were super ran through and they effed all your friends. That's what she said. She said, and they effed all your friends, so I don't even care. And I'm like, you know, like I said, again, the pot talking about the kettle, because at the end of the day, her friend was messing with Diddy for 2 years before she messed with him. So I just thought that was just not a smart thing for her to say. Okay, Queen, the jury is going to have their work cut out for them. Yes, I absolutely agree. Okay, I absolutely agree. So anyway, honey, I just had to come out here and tell you all that. And like I said, every time Teeny pointed out something that she was complicit in, you know, painted it as though she was complicit in some of the stuff, which she absolutely was. Okay, that's obvious, according to her own words. And whenever Teeny would go zero in on that, she would say, well, I did it because my man asked me to. Okay, I did it because my partner wanted me to. She was even trying to blame Diddy for her doing the illegal substances, but he didn't shove those things down your throat. And in fact, she sat there and talked about which ones she liked the best, which was the ecstasy. Okay, she said she didn't like the ketamine. Okay, she didn't like that. And she said that she wasn't crazy about the Coca-Cola, but she liked the X. And so then Teeny asked her, why does she like that one better than the others? And so she said it makes her feel sexy and liberated and all of that. But at the end of the day, she was talking about how she also tried to get Diddy help to get him off of the illegal substances, because she said she was looking at him and she noticed that his gums were turning gray and that his eyes looked like he had jaundice. And so she told him about this rehab facility. And he was like, you think I need rehab? And she was like, well, you know, like basically it wouldn't hurt at the end of the day, honey. And she also talked about how Diddy made her get her teeth fixed. He wanted her to get veneers, get her teeth done because he didn't like her teeth or whatever. But Teeny was like, yeah, but you like your teeth, right? You like your teeth better because they look good. And then you said they look, you know, he said they look pretty natural, right? And so she said yes. But she was acting as though she really didn't want to get her teeth done, but she liked them after she got them done or whatever. It's like she's trying to downplay some things and then trying to shift the blame or the narrative about other things. Okay, now I will say that I believe she's a victim because Diddy put those knots upside her head, those welts, and because he punched her in the eye or whatever. But at the end of the day, bottom line is this stuff with these hotel nights, this stuff with doing these illegal substances, she absolutely was a willing participant, and nobody shoved it down her throat and nobody made her do it. She did that because that's what she decided to do. And even if Diddy talked her into it, well, you allowed him to do so. Okay, because people only do what you let them do. James, thanks for what you're doing. Stay safe in New York. I will, beloved. Thank you so much for your kind words and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so listen, I'm going to run because the break is over. I've got to sign my stuff back in, but I'll be back out here as soon as the case is done. Okay, love you all to life. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives.